get to the show. So Bethesda is about to have an insane 2025, but you know what? I don't trust it. I'm probably not going to buy anything from Bethesda for a very, very long time. From Juicehead, let's see what he's got to say about it.
Bethesda may be about to have an absolutely insane 2025.
Insane is a pretty good way to put it, maybe, I guess.
As of right now, Bethesda has quite a few games and even some major DLCs all slated to drop at some point this year, and when you add Xbox on top, this very well could end up being one of the best years for RPG fans ever. And a big part of this is 2025 will very likely be our first real look at the new Bethesda. In this video, I will make perhaps an insane and pointless argument.
New Bethesda. What is new Bethesda? You mean Bethesda releasing a new game? Because that's what it would be with an old engine.
But I think there is a scenario where we could see the Elder Scrolls 6 in 2025. I don't think we're going to be playing it this year, but yeah, I think there's a chance we could see it. Bethesda's been making some serious changes as of late, and we have a really good idea of what's to come from this company, thanks to both old and new leaks that are incredibly telling. Like the fact that you'll likely be seeing more very soon. Leading up to the Game Awards 2024, which is just in December, we heard from insiders like Nate Drake how Xbox, which of course now also means Bethesda, wouldn't end up having a major presence at the Game Awards 2024. We still, of course, did get some major reveals like The Outer Worlds 2 dropping in 2025. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But overall, saving some of the big reveals is a new strategy from Xbox, as now they tend to save some of their stuff for this January Developer Direct. As of right now, the 2025 Developer Direct hasn't even been announced yet, but several insiders do report that the event is happening and an announcement should be coming shortly. Even just earlier today, insider Xtasis posted this cryptic tweet mentioning tomorrow and 23, likely suggesting that the Developer Direct will be announced tomorrow and take place on January 23rd. And this
See, I don't even know if I want to play the Elder Scrolls. I want to play it, but I don't know if I want to purchase it. I don't know if I want to pay money for it, because the things that I like about Elder Scrolls games and Bethesda games probably aren't going to be in this one. Like, the modding community is definitely going to be broken. It's going to be fragmented, because every Bethesda game is fragmented now, except for the old games like Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, and somewhat Fallout 4. But Fallout 4, it's fragmented also. I gave up on trying to mod it, because everything that I tried, something was broken every time I tried modding Fallout 4. So I gave up on that.
This year is a special one, as we have a really good idea of what Bethesda is going to announce thanks to some of these past leaks. You've probably seen this roadmap. Microsoft actually leaked this themselves on accident while trying to upload a Phil Spencer deposition during the FTC trial in 2023. This roadmap was an overlooked attachment on that deposition, giving us Bethesda's internal roadmap.
Dishonored 3, though. Fallout 3 Remastered. Doom Year Zero. Oh man, like that sounds pretty good to me. That sounds real good to me. Especially Dishonored 3. I'm gonna be playing Dishonored pretty soon on stream, because I've never actually played through it. I think I got about halfway through it whenever I first bought it, but there were other games that came out around that time, and I just never got around to actually finishing it. And I need to. I have all of the DLC and stuff for it
that they made in 2020. So on one hand, yes, this is fairly outdated, nearly 4.5 years old now, but on the other hand, this leaked a year and a half ago. So now we have a pretty good idea on its accuracy. We can see what is held true and what hasn't held true. Because at least thus far, the reality is, for many of the games listed on this roadmap, if you simply apply a 2-year delay to the stated date, this roadmap has been shockingly accurate, which means we're probably going to be seeing Doom: The Dark Ages pretty soon. This was announced last year with a slated 2025 release date, a new medieval Doom game that to me looks absolutely epic. And there is a pretty good chance.
Oh yeah, that game looks so good, man. I'm probably going to end up playing that game. I have Doom, and I haven't played through all of it. I'm probably going to play that on stream also. There's so many games that I need to play, and I have an excuse to play them now because I'm playing them on stream.
and you'll be playing this one soon. Doom 2016 dropped in May, while Doom Eternal came even earlier in March. From this roadmap, we can see that Bethesda originally planned to have both Doom the Dark Ages and its first DLC out in the same year. So based off those past release dates, plus the timing of a DLC and a game in the same year, definitely makes me think that this new Doom game is coming out in the next 3 to 4 months, which means it'll almost certainly claim a main spot at the 2025 Developer Direct. So if you're excited for Doom, we're likely getting a deep dive in just a couple of weeks. But that's not all, because do you know what Todd Howard wants? To release a game on incredibly short notice.
I like when you really see the game to when it's out is as short as possible.
Yeah.
As short as people will let me.
You would go short.
Oh yeah, that's what I want. No pre-orders, just I would like announce game, release it next day. That would be perfect world for me.
You could?
Oh yeah. Well, maybe, I'm trying to think what's perfect right now. Maybe a week just to get people excited.
Right.
To have those moments of, I saw it, there's some trailers, percolates in your mind, and they're...
That is a quote from an interview all the way back in 2019, but I've been thinking about this quote a lot lately due to this recently leaked Oblivion Remake. This game leaked back in 2023, but in the past...
At this point, I don't even really care if Oblivion Remake comes out because I'm going to be playing that mod. But if it comes out, I'm going to play them both. I'm probably going to play the mod more because I really like the Skyrim like feel with mods. But, you know, I haven't played Starfield, so maybe the new iteration of the games in the what is it, the creation engine? I don't even know what the Bethesda engine is called anymore, because I just like haven't thought about Bethesda in so long.
Couple of weeks, it has been getting a ton of leaks, with several insiders now expecting that the Oblivion Remake will be revealed at the 2025 developer.
Fable. I used to play the shit out of Fable. I want to play some more Fable. Fable 1 and 2. I even like 3. A lot of people don't like 3. I think 3 is fine, especially compared with today's sequels and today's releases. I think 3 is actually a decent game. Not as good as the first two. Well, maybe as good as the first one. The second one is just goated, though.
Developer Direct, and just right off the bat, yeah, that makes sense. Hi-Fi Rush was a surprise reveal at the original Developer Direct, and it seems like something they like to do with these events. If you haven't heard about this Oblivion remaster/remake, I've covered this one a few times now. It leaked on Reddit all the way back in 2023, and was described as being made by Virtuous Games, an existing outsourcing developer, and this one would be using 2 engines stacked on top of one another to basically be a remaster-remake hybrid. Visuals are remade in Unreal Engine 5, as well as certain game features can be remade if you want to. But at the same time, a ton of stuff can be left the same, so it'll still feel like Oblivion. Even though this was just a random Reddit post, the moderators on this subreddit did verify the leaker's identity, and even after this, we saw other insiders report about hearing about an Oblivion remaster being worked on, and then of course, Microsoft themselves leaked this roadmap showing the Oblivion remaster is in fact a real thing. But then things went quiet. For most of 2024, there really wasn't much chatter around this at all.
Like, sure, Oblivion remaster, sure. But what we all want, and Bethesda knows it, is we want that Fallout New Vegas remaster. We want it made hopefully by a lot of the people that did the original one, and keep it true to form, and just make it look better, and make the mechanics work better, and make it feel better. That's all you need. That's all anybody wants, Fallout New Vegas remake, or a remaster, whatever you're going to call it, because really it is a remake.
But right at the end of the year, Ecstasis came forward once again claiming the Oblivion remaster is real and would be at the Developer Direct 2024. This speculation likely based off quotes from Nate Drake on Reset Era, who also mentioned the game towards the end of 2024. And since then, more has been found. Other insiders like Jez Corden are now speculating that yes, this game will be there. Tom Warren tweeted out a bunch of expected games releasing in 2025 from Xbox, but then updated that list to say, oh yeah, and more is coming too. Many suspecting this is a reference to Oblivion as this was posted, right as all of the speculation was rising again. And even just a few days ago, Timor222 on Twitter noticed a Virtuous Games developer with an unannounced Unreal Engine 5 remake on his LinkedIn, which of course would make sense for this Oblivion game, which is being made at Virtuous Games. And since that was posted and got a bunch of media attention, that part of the LinkedIn was removed. So taking this all together, many people are now suspecting that Oblivion is going to be revealed at the Developer Direct and tying it back in with what Todd Howard said earlier, could we actually see a potential release date just 6 or so weeks after the developer direct? Oblivion's original release date is on March 20th, potentially fulfilling that super short reveal to release desire. And to be clear, there's nothing actually backing that up. I'm just kind of speculating that this seems like something Todd Howard has wanted to do for a while, and this seems like a unique opportunity where they could actually do it as the event timing just works out. In my opinion overall, the Oblivion remake is almost certainly real. We've just seen so many independent leaks around this project from...
I want to know what it's going to do to the modding community. Because that's going to be crazy if that game actually is a thing and releases as its own thing. Is it going to be Unreal Engine? If it's Unreal Engine, like, the mods are going to be crazy. I'm for that. I'm for Oblivion being remade in Unreal Engine. As much as I don't like the Unreal Engine and it makes games look samey, if you're remastering an old game and you try and keep that look and feel of it implemented in this Unreal Engine version, please be Unreal Engine. I don't want to remake in the Creation Engine.
Various sources, that I feel like that it's more likely something is actually happening rather than all of these people being wrong. Now conversely, whether or not it's actually dropping in March and whether or not it'll be at the developer direct is a bit more of an unknown. Many of these leaks say the game is being worked on, but they don't exactly confirm when it'll come out or even when we'll see it. Although, in fairness, even on that original leak from the Reddit post, that author did mention if the game ended up becoming more of a remake than a remaster, it would likely slip to 2025. And even that LinkedIn entry describes an unannounced remake specifically. So maybe they don't quite make that March release date, but I definitely think we see Bethesda Game Studios finally drop a remake in 2025. But as we do return to this roadmap, that is where things start to get genuinely insane. Even if we just got the Oblivion remake as well as Doom the Dark Ages...
It's good. It's 100% the Oblivion remake or remaster or whatever it is going to be. They're just going to call it the something edition. They're gonna call it the like pretty edition, something edition, because like Skyrim is anniversary edition. You got the legendary edition, you know, updated edition. Let's give it that. Why not?
And a first expansion for that game, it would already be a pretty massive year from Bethesda. But if this roadmap is to be believed, there's 2 more giant projects coming this year as well. Project Kestrel is the upcoming ZeniMax Online Studios MMO. We know this from a previous GeForce Now leak, which did reveal the codename, and while we don't know much about what the MMO itself will be, what we do know is that this game is shaping up to be giant. It's been in development since October of 2018, according to this LinkedIn, and during that time, ZeniMax Online Studios opened up several totally new offices to help work on this project. So you're talking about nearly 7 years of dev time, multiple new studios opened, and the only other major detail we know about is there's going to be some kind of vehicle system. As a senior vehicle designer is one of
Well, I mean, they got 3 major games. I bet that this has been planned for a while, and Starfield was kind of a success. I mean, not really, but I mean, it did make some money, didn't it? I guarantee we got an MMO that's Elder Scrolls, we got an MMO that's Fallout, we're gonna get a Starfield MMO. Probably gonna get a space MMO that's Starfield.
the job listings that was posted during this time. This is one of those games where we don't really know much about what it could be right now, but it just seems like it'll be massive, and based off this leaked roadmap, it has a really good chance at dropping this year, or at the very least being revealed this year. It's one of those things where, yeah, we know nothing right now, but for some of you watching, this game will get revealed, become your most anticipated game of the year, and probably take over your life for a bit. Conversely, Project Platinum is a bit more obscure. This was also in the GeForce Now leak, but originally listed as an Indiana Jones game.
Oh yeah, there's that.
Roadmap is a completely separate listing. So what I suspect is going on.
An Indiana Jones MMO would be crazy.
Here is this Project Platinum.
It'd be interesting, man. I think a lot of people would be interested in playing that.
Could just be a different game from Machine Games, who also worked on Indiana Jones. And there's a fairly obvious candidate for what this could be that is otherwise not located on the roadmap, and that's Wolfenstein 3. But okay, I know, many of you are immediately thinking, wait, what? That can't be possible, right? Dropping Indiana Jones in December, and then Wolfenstein 3 literally the very next year, and likely within 12 months, would be pretty insane. Those are two giant projects. But even on the original roadmap, Bethesda did have these two games only separated by a year, assuming Project Platinum is actually some project by Machine Games. We've seen job listings hinting at a Wolfenstein 3, and just generally, Machine Games working on Wolfenstein 3 really wouldn't be a shock. If anything, it'd kind of be expected. But I do kind of wonder why Wolfenstein 3 would then get a code name on this roadmap in the first place. It's not like this game is some big secret that would shock a bunch of people, so why are they hiding it? So who knows? Maybe
unless it's a really, really big game that changes a whole lot.
Is something completely unrelated. Maybe Wolfenstein 3 is actually several more years away. That's why it didn't pop up on this roadmap. And one way or another, Bethesda has another surprise project potentially coming in 2025 if the dates on this roadmap are to be believed. And it seems like the success.
I just hope it's a new IP. I like new, interesting IPs. Give me something new and tasty.
Of Indiana Jones may have seriously elevated Machine Games. Jez Corden recently reported that Disney wants more from them.
An Indiana Jones, a Disney insider.
If we could get an FPS Star Wars RPG that's akin to like Fallout or Starfield, that would be legit one of the greatest things ever if they could do it right.
Suggested that there was going to be more in Indiana Jones, and I will say on my end, I've also heard that Disney picked up the phone and wants more Indiana Jones.
But one that may come as a bit
Indiana
of a surprise
Jones.
is Bethesda Game Studios has the potential to be surprisingly active this year, releasing a lot more.
And the sister to Indiana Jones is Star Wars. Come on, let's get a Bethesda Star Wars game.
Content that you are expecting, even not including that Oblivion remake. As of right now, it's not really clear when Season 2 of the Fallout TV show is coming out. We've seen numerous quotes about how they're working to get Season 2 out as fast as humanly possible, and we've already seen a variety of set photo leaks get posted online as Season 2 filming began in late 2024. If you're curious about those leaks, get subscribed as I have another video coming on the TV show. Right now, it definitely seems ambitious for Season 2 to drop in 2025, and even as I was just filming this video, we got the news that filming has been suspended due to the ongoing fires in California. So if anything, it seems only more likely that, yeah, Season 2 is in 2026. But either way, the Fallout TV show has had an impact, and Bethesda's plans have changed as a result of this. Last year, Bethesda
Fallout Season 2 is one of my most anticipated, most hyped shows of all time. I cannot wait for that to come out. And they're using New Vegas. It's going to be amazing.
had 2 in-person Fallout 76 events in London, this showing off some of the game's future updates. This is a new thing. These events were a direct response to the increased player count from the TV show, and they do reflect a considerable increase in investment into Fallout from Xbox. Like, put simply, it's just new money. They weren't doing Fallout events, and then all of a sudden the TV show comes out, a bunch of new players are there, and they got a larger budget allocation, so they now can put on events. But I think it's a safe bet to extrapolate that. So keeping that in mind, I would just expect more Fallout in general in 2025 from Bethesda.
They could do a smaller Fallout game even. Like an actual Fallout 3 that's a sequel to Fallout 2. That's like, you know, the isometric style. Or make a game that's similar to the Baldur's Gate 3 style. That would be insane.
Bethesda.
So many good ideas. They're probably not going to use any of them.
Because several teams likely just got a budget increase internally. Bigger presence at events is something I hope Bethesda does. I'd really love to see them back at PAX East, but also larger and even more frequent updates for Fallout 76 seems like a lock. I fully suspect 2025 to be the game's most active year yet, but Bethesda does have other big things coming even beyond that. In his recent interview with Mr. Matty Plays, Todd Howard made it clear that Bethesda...
Let's get another Prey game. Another Prey game? Anybody?
Made a mistake with Fallout 4 and Skyrim.
We would look back at Skyrim, which we're still updating to a small extent, and there's all of the creations and mods there. Still a hugely played game. Same with Fallout 4, that we wish we had supported them longer. And as we go into Elder Scrolls 6, we sort of, with all of these games, you got to start now by thinking about like a 10-year horizon.
People hate that you keep updating these old games, though. Leave them alone, and the modding scene will get better.
Right? How do we support a game for that long?
2024 is the year we start to see that change, but I think 2025 is really the big one, as Bethesda describes how both Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6 will see more support compared to their older projects.
that expectation that we'll update them for years is true.
So with Elder Scrolls 6 going in with that knowledge, is the plan like a long-term support for that too?
100%. Yeah. Content wise, we're looking at kind of like what we do with Far Harbor on Fallout 4. We're like,
Speaking my
okay,
language.
this is a scope that works for, our development in doing this kind of annual story expansion type of thing. So
I know things change, but would you say you're aiming to do like an annual story expansion every year?
I would say we want to more or less, yeah. How long that continues, hopefully a very long time, but that's where
If we are trading actual expansions out, we're getting rid of the microtransactions, we're getting actual expansions. I am all in for that. Let's get rid of microtransactions and put in smaller expansions that are like yearly drops. For a decade long, you can monetize these games. Just make little games inside your games. People will pay for that. I will 100% pay for that. That's just more game. Microtransactions is not more game. That's just cheap way to make money real quick. I mean, if you got the game built, it's not that hard to just like add in a few more levels for like $20.
planning for the one after this, so there will be another one.
So of course, we know Starfield is getting another expansion this year. Starborn is the name, and that was even recently trademarked. And this is a big deal, because Bethesda plans to do this indefinitely, as long as players stick around. As we're basically seeing Bethesda break up into distinct teams here. Many devs are working on the next AAA project with the Elder Scrolls 6, but also a team working on DLC for the last project for Starfield's DLC. And not even just in the form of expansions, because paid mods are also really starting to take off for both Starfield and Skyrim, with even Bethesda releasing some of their own paid mods or creations, and even contracting mod teams to make some of their own content. This is one of those weird aspects of Bethesda's evolving plans. I suspect they release a good amount of content via creations this year, and verified creators in the program are going to be doing the same. Now with some of these teams, you're talking about a roughly DLC-sized quality and sized mod. Some of this content is getting really, really good, and people are buying this stuff. I've heard from several users in the program that yes, they're continuing to make content for it, and they're making pretty good money from what they're releasing. So for some of you, this is absolutely great news. A bunch more content for your favorite games, but I also know there's a whole other chunk of you who are watching right now that have zero interest in a paid mod and don't even browse this menu. But one way or another, my understanding here is Bethesda's investment into paid mods with creations has been a massive success. And as such, I would expect much more of that in 2025, including with Oblivion. I have to imagine they want to bring creations, aka paid mods, into all future releases. But what about the next Fallout game? A pretty well
Paid mods, that is not the way to go. Because paid mods, there's too many options for people to care about it. And it just makes it less cohesive, less coherent, and less immersive because you're like I said, there's too many options. If you build stuff in that you can just like buy a pack for on sale later on, and you get all of the content that exists in the game, and there's nothing else other than that, and you know what you're getting, and you don't have to look through and choose all the stuff that you want. It's just all there, stuff you want, stuff you may not want, stuff you may not ever use. It's all there. All in one pack. And with the paid mods, it's not like that, and people just don't care. And I don't like it.
Theory popped up recently that you're likely going to hear more and more as 2025 goes on. Obsidian Entertainment is doing the unthinkable. They're releasing both Avowed and The Outer Worlds, two AAA RPGs, within the same year. Avowed is coming in just a couple of months on February 18th or February 13th with early access. So just from the onset, that is huge. Avowed has been almost universally praised from its previews. This game is shaping up to be a big hit for RPG fans, and The Outer Worlds was just a world that I personally loved. Most of my complaints come around the scale of that game, so hopefully a bigger sequel with Xbox money.
A lot of my complaints with Outer World, it was the scale of it, because it was kind of small. It felt smaller than the first Borderlands, and that game came out in like 2008, 2009. But it was also the vibe of everything, the way stuff looked. It was like really cartoony and tried to be also realistic looking at the same time. And the characters just looked weird. Like they should have stylized the characters a little bit more. Maybe made everything cel-shaded like Borderlands.
behind it will be even better. The Outer Worlds 2 is genuinely one of my most anticipated games right now. But then what? Obsidian is going to have a lot of developers available for something new, and I think that something new could be Fallout. A lot of the current speculation about what's going to happen next with Fallout stems from a Jez Corden quote from last year. This was posted right after the Fallout TV show dropped and started smashing some of the major records. Not just in viewership for the show, but of course also in player counts for the game. A very important piece of context here. The Fallout TV show doesn't necessarily make Microsoft or Bethesda a ton of money. To actually make the show, it's likely just a flat licensing fee, nothing crazy. Because Xbox and Bethesda will make their money on the game side, monetizing all of those new players that come to the Fallout games. So of course, having a new game to sell is going to be incredibly important to get the most out of this project. But of course, that's not here yet. There isn't a new Fallout game, and it doesn't even seem like there will be a new Fallout game in the next year or two. Or at least there wasn't going to be. But now, Jez Corden thinks Xbox is changing up their plans to get this game out sooner.
This is different. It's a bit different here because they've already got the engine. It's the Starfield engine. They've just got to kind of make assets for it.
Well, okay, who would make the game? Certainly not Bethesda. It would have to be somebody else.
That's what they're talking about right now. I'm suggesting someone else is going to build Fallout.
Someone else at Bethesda would come in and make a Fallout 5.
Not necessarily.
Would it be
Bethesda.
Fallout 5 or would it be Fallout: City?
It might be Fallout: City, but I think, yeah, they're putting a plan in place, and I don't.
Oh,
think
if we get something like Fallout New Vegas, I think that would be much better than Fallout 5. Especially if it does some new interesting things. Some people don't like some things about it. You know, if it ends up not being a big hit, then you don't ruin the whole franchise, and then you can take some ideas from that and implement them into Fallout 5, and then just make Fallout 5 bigger and look prettier.
I think it necessarily be Todd's main Bethesda team doing it. I think probably Obsidian.
You think Obsidian's going to do it?
I think so, yeah. That's based on nothing, but I just know that they know they can't let this take that long.
They can't. They have to do it. It's right there. They know it'll make money. They know it will make money if they just do a Fallout New Vegas 2 or some shit with Obsidian doing it. If Obsidian does that, it's just like, it's so obvious they have to do it. If they don't do it, they're done for, I think. Like, that's just a sign that they just don't know what the fuck they're doing. If they don't do this.
And to be clear on what's actually being said here, Xbox wants this next Fallout game out sooner, as soon as possible, but Jez is merely speculating that Obsidian will be the ones to work on it. And as of right now, Obsidian really does seem like the safest bet. There are numerous quotes from over the years of the studio head at Obsidian saying how Fallout could be next after they finish up their current projects, how he wants to make a Fallout game before he retires, and even how they're just really waiting for the opportunity to make one of the Fallout games again. And based off that supposed Xbox quote that Jez is talking about, it certainly sounds like the opportunity to make a Fallout game is right now. Because yeah, this one just kind of makes sense. Obsidian will have a ton of developers opening up over 2025, as Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2 drop this year. I don't think it'd be shocking at all to see all of those devs move on to Fallout. Now, whether or not we hear about it this year is a completely different story. Obsidian has been revealing their games well in advance to help recruit talent. Both Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2 got trailers several years before release, which does make me think it is possible for a hypothetical Fallout spin-off to get announced early, this likely just being a simple logo reveal showcasing a certain location or a CGI trailer like we've seen with other Obsidian projects. And if this all does happen, if Obsidian really starts working on a Fallout project in 2025, it genuinely wouldn't shock me to see a trailer for two major reasons. One, to just draw developer interest. You want the
Could you imagine if, like, you're sitting there waiting, watching trailers, you don't know what's coming up next, and it just opens and it's the character gameplay just fighting, and it's just like flowing good, and everybody's like, oh, what is this game? It's gameplay, but we don't know what it is. And then it just flashes Elder Scrolls 6. That would be one of the most epic trailer reveals of all time, and they 100% are not going to do that. Nobody would ever do that. They, like, we as the consumer know what would be hard-hitting successes, and nobody ever does it.
top devs working on this new Fallout game, but also this would be such an easy and big win with the community. Tons of fans are fairly frustrated with Xbox right now, but an Obsidian Fallout game is a pretty surefire way to make a lot of those people happy. And with Xbox's major focus being on Game Pass, they have serious incentive to keep these people happy. A report just recently dropped that described how Game Pass launches can result in 80% lower sales for games. Because as a consumer, why would I buy the game on Steam if I already own it on Game Pass? That Indiana Jones game is a...
They're banking on the long-term purchase of these games. Because people will, if it leaves Game Pass, and they really want the game, even if they beat it on Game Pass, a lot of times they will eventually buy it again.
Prime example of this. It didn't even break 12,000 players on Steam, so a ton of people thought this game was a bomb, but if you looked at the Xbox top played games, you'd see Indiana Jones was above Minecraft. And this was from a couple of weeks after release, suggesting that, yeah, Indiana Jones hit an absolutely massive player base. Okay, so how is that relevant with an Obsidian Fallout? Because it encourages people to stay subscribed. Game Pass only works if you stick around. You're not paying $70 day one.
I will purchase full price for this game. Shit, I'll even pre-order it. No, I won't do that.
To get access to that game, and instead you're paying $10 to $15 or more per month. So for Xbox to get their money worth out of you, you have to stay subscribed for years at a time. Otherwise, they're just going to be losing money on the system. So with this in mind, with this being one of the major revenue drivers for Xbox right now, it does give them a bit more incentive compared to other companies to reveal games earlier. If you know a Fallout game's coming and potentially a couple years away, yeah, you're more likely to stay on Game Pass. You're not going to cancel your subscription if a bunch of...
Man, the gunplay in Fallout, the older Fallout games like Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, just not so good, man. Really making me want to play it again, though.
Cool games are just on the horizon. And it's really that, coupled with increased developer interest, as far as the main reasons I think Xbox could in fact reveal the next Fallout even sooner. And hey,
that was definitely Fallout New Vegas. This
even
ain't.
the Elder Scrolls 6. Right now, we don't know much about the Elder Scrolls 6. Last year, it was revealed that the project was in full production, but there are a few factors pointing towards a 2026 release date for this title. That leaked roadmap would be at 2026 if you apply that 2-year delay, like what happened with many other games. A Microsoft lawyer said that the Elder Scrolls 16 was coming in 2026. That almost certainly was meant to be the Elder Scrolls 6, and hey, they must have gotten that 2026 date from somewhere. And with rumors that Xbox will have some kind of new console in 2026, I personally cannot think of a better launch game than the Elder Scrolls 6. But during that same FTC trial, we also heard from Phil Spencer, who says that the Elder Scrolls 6 is 5+ years away, so perhaps all of what I just said is complete nonsense. So from my perspective, I would absolutely not say it's like...
Well, 5+ years away, that from the time that was posted is just 2027. I could 100% see it releasing in 2027.
We see the Elder Scrolls 6 this year, but it also wouldn't shock me. We're kind of moved past that era of Bethesda having these crazy short reveals to release, or at least it appears that way. Starfield got multiple trailers years before the game came out. It wasn't just one teaser, but several teasers, and then several trailers before we actually got hands-on. Well, yeah, Todd Howard keeps saying he likes to have these super short reveal to releases. I have to imagine that's going away just due to the Game Pass model. And as such, it really wouldn't shock me to see Bethesda start revealing some of their prestige IPs even earlier, because you know, whenever the Elder Scrolls 6 is actually getting a proper trailer, people are going to absolutely lose their minds. But of course, even beyond...
I'm absolutely gonna make ad revenue off of that. I cannot wait.
Just Bethesda, lots of other incredible games are coming in 2025. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a huge one, and if you're excited for that game, get subscribed. I think you might want to pay attention to this channel when it comes to content for that one. Developers are doing something insane and giving reviewers a full month of early access. Right now, Fable is slated to drop in 2025, and just overall, we have yet to really get a concrete...
I'm definitely gonna be playing that. I will get Game Pass for that game.
A really good in-game look at what this one will play like. It seems possible Fable is another attendee of the Developer Direct in January, and even Clockwork Revolution could potentially get a trailer. This is that extremely reactive RPG coming from an Exile, and for me personally, this is my most anticipated RPG right now. Although if Xbox is already dropping an Oblivion Remake, Fable, Avowed, and The Outer Worlds in 2025, it would feel a bit unnecessary to also include Clockwork Revolution, so I fully suspect that'll be a 2026 game, but who knows, perhaps we get a trailer or something. And even The Witcher 4. I suspect The Witcher 4 is also a 2026 title, but with Cyberpunk 2077, this game saw one of the most successful marketing cycles of all time, and a big part of that was showing off the game early. This also led to massive issues, as the game they showed off early didn't look like the same game on release, but CDPR has been doing longer marketing cycles even with the Phantom Liberty DLC, so I would not be shocked if we get a more in-depth look at The Witcher 4 in 2025, likely around the summer showcase. Again, they were doing hour-long demos for Cyberpunk 2077 2 years before release. I'm not saying we're going to get something like that, but a 5 to 10 minute gameplay doesn't seem that far-fetched. Plus, who knows, maybe The Witcher 4 is in fact a 2025 release. I still heavily doubt that, but we don't know the release year quite yet. And some, if not all of these games, will also likely be coming to PlayStation. Starfield in particular seems like a major candidate to come to PlayStation 5 this year. You could sell a lot of game copies and then sell a ton of paid mods with an entirely new audience. But with that said, those are some of the updates around Xbox for 2025. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down.
Yeah, you know what paid mods gets you is make a more blank game that's easier to mod, so you can have people throw in their paid mods, so you can make more money off of those than actually making a good game.
Down below. Are you hyped for this year of games? Honestly,
yes.
I think both 25 and 26 could end up becoming absolutely dreams for RPG fans. But if you are looking for content you can use right now, check out this video for my personal top 10.
I can't even list all of the games that I'm anticipating this year. Civ 7 is one of them that's coming out in just like a month. The game comes out in a month. Civilization since 4 has been one of my favorite games, my favorite franchises in gaming. 5 is just like, you can't beat that in simulation. And we're gonna probably get some new Capcom, like Resident Evil stuff this year. At least a glimpse of it. Hopefully it's a Resident Evil 1 remake. I'll even take a Resident Evil 5 remake, one of those two, or even Resident Evil 0 remake. I don't know. There's so many things.